This is a very,
This is a tough
very
decision.
important week for you, Ben, because if you don't catch up this week, you have to differ on one of the two. It really, because it's only a 2 point game, it's really going to come down to next week, regardless, we're going to have to differ on one of the two games in the NFC or AFC Championship. So, regardless of
Or
what
I differ
happens this
here
week,
and I have to differ on both.
oh, 3
Because it's
point,
three. Yeah, and it's
well, a
only
four
four.
point
I would
next
have to
week.
differ on both.
Oh, yeah, you'll be down 5.
I'll be on five. I would
Yeah.
have to differ on both. So it's either I differ, I had to take a
Or hope
gamble,
for a score
like an
again. You did that
absolute gamble.
once.
I think I won't tell you which. We'll go through each one. How about this? For the viewers and for you, I won't even send you my picks. We're just
Yeah.
gonna go through and you just gonna guess if I
Well,
differ on them or not, and we're gonna go
We'll
from there.
we'll see what happens. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Nick's Picks. We are in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs and our final 3 episodes of Nick's Picks. And I am joined, as I am always, by Ben. Ben, it is the divisional round. It is our 20th now episode of the season.
Wow.
And like I said, our final 3 episodes. So we're getting down to the end of it. You're in a different country, sort of. Not really. It's part of the United States, but like you're on an island.
I'm not in a snowstorm.
Hey, yeah. I will tell you right now, it is like 10
Bad.
degrees here, and we got like 8 inches of snow last night.
Yeah. I said today this is a really crappy day in Puerto Rico. It was 80 degrees and cloudy.
Ben will lag a little bit because we are the farthest apart that we could possibly be right now. We get into the divisional round, but we do have a wild card round to recap. Before we get into that, Ben did have one differ than me last week. It was the final game of wild card weekend, the Rams and the Vikings. I should have saw it coming. I mean, I understand. We'll get into it here in the recap. Ben did gain 2 points on me. The current score of Nick's Picks, we cracked the 200s. It is 202 to 200 exactly, going into the divisional round in which every game is going to be worth 3 points. So, as Ben was saying, if he does have one differ this week, he has the chance to either be up by 1 point, essentially just giving you the option as to who you want to pick for the NFC Championship games and making me choose who I have to differ with. Or he could be down 5, potentially, going into championship weekend. So that's why you could potentially just not differ and then only have to differ on one next week and just take the fact that you're only going to have to do one, but you won't be able to like pick right away. It's a gamble. You have at least the rest of this recap to figure it out because I still don't know Ben's picks yet, but he knows mine. So we get into wild card weekend and it started with the Chargers going up against the Texans, and the Chargers were one of those teams where a lot of people thought the Chargers could be a dark horse team. A lot of people thought that all the Chargers were missing was a head coach, and the Chargers went out and did exactly what the Chargers have done every single time that they get into the postseason.
I will say this now. I've been a Justin Herbert fan. I still think he's good, but at some point you do gotta look at it. I will say he doesn't have receivers. They have a good run game. They have a decent defense. He doesn't have a number one receiver really, besides the rookie. And I get that. I totally if they get like say like T Higgins in free agency, I think that makes the team better. But at some point you do got to look at Herbert and say, what more can we do to help you? We got a good coach. We had a good run game, but
Yeah, lack of wide receiver help was definitely a problem for the Chargers, but the Texans played a lot better than they have for literally the second half of this season. We move on to the Ravens beating the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I mean, we kind of saw it coming. Like I've said so many times, the Steelers just have no talent on this team, and it'll always show when they play competition. It is what it is. They can keep having their 10-7 records, but this is going to keep being the result until they get themselves a franchise quarterback. It just is what it is. Ravens looked exactly how they should starting the playoffs, so we will see how that fares in a very, very interesting divisional round game. We'll get to that in a little bit. I mean, the other side of that divisional game is the the Bills after they beat the Denver Broncos in their game again fairly handily. This is the one thing that I would say I was right about. I know that the Broncos had a good defense and all that, but it was a rookie quarterback. The Bills, Josh Allen has just had too much postseason success. It was bound to happen. The Eagles went up against the Packers. Unfortunately, the Packers just didn't fucking show up. And on top of that, like it was so bad to the point where the Eagles should have absolutely kicked the shit out of the Packers. Jalen Hurts is not a good quarterback. I want to be on camera saying that Jalen Hurts is not a good quarterback. The Eagles are way too talented of a team to go 2 for 11 on third down. He went like 90 straight minutes without throwing a fucking completion, and he only had like 150 yards, not even passing the football.
Something like that.
Buddy,
like,
you got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, one of the best offensive lines in the league, Dallas Goedert at tight end.
I forgot about him. I'm not gonna lie, but a good point too.
What are you doing? A.J. Brown's so fucking bored with you, he's reading a book on the sideline. Like, what is happening? I'm not even mad, because I fucking hate Philadelphia. But let's never put Jalen Hurts in a top 10 conversation until he can prove himself again, because that was one of the most ridiculous games I've ever watched a team win.
Foreshadowing when we do our QB tier list in the offseason. I'm mad about this one.
I do owe
because I did call it. I
do owe a team an apology. I do owe a team an apology. I said last week that I can see any team in this NFC beating any other team in this NFC except for the Washington Commanders, and they did. They went out and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. To be fair, I will say that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were the only other team that this was the most favorable matchup for Washington. They would not have beaten any other team besides Tampa Bay, in my opinion. They did it, so I can't be too mad. Jaden Daniels looks like he is going to be a stud in this league. Of fucking course he has to be in the Giants division. Tampa Bay has a lot of problems on this team. It is what it is. I don't like him that much. You hate him, so
I'm indifferent on him, honestly. I mean, I'm more upset with myself because I said whoever wins the NFC South is losing the first week, and then I immediately picked which I'm upset with because if I did that, I would have tied it. But
we finished off wildcard weekend with you actually getting a prediction correctly. It was the Rams going on to beat the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota looked exactly how they looked against Detroit, so I was wrong about them bouncing back from a win. I wouldn't say the Rams looked impressive. I mean, Stafford barely had 200 yards. They didn't have a huge rushing game. I mean, their defense was really the story of this game. The fact that they sacked Sam Darnold as many times as they did. They are not going to be able to play like this and beat Philly, even with how Philly played against Green Bay.
I will say, I think Sam Darnold's still going to get extension. He's probably not going to get. I think if you're a Vikings fan, I think he went.
I think Sam Darnold went from unrealistic Daniel Jones money to Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield money.
Which I think if you're a Vikings fan, I'm okay with.
That rounded out wildcard weekend, and like I said, Ben had that Rams-Vikings game over me. As I said earlier, 202, 200. Let's get slower in here to give some hot takes, because I know he's itching to get in here, especially since the Packers got beat by a team that looked like ass. So let's get into it. Divisional weekend. It is going to be a little laggy because Ben you're technically in the country, but not really. Like I didn't say that. For all legal purposes, I didn't say that.
Legal purposes, my ass.
Benjamin and Slower. Slower is here. So ignore Benjamin if he freezes at all, because he probably already has at one point in this episode or so. Either your second to last episode, or if somehow we managed to get you here for the Super Bowl special when Ben's here.
As you guys should.
The floor is yours.
Gentlemen, it has been a great year with you guys. I just want to say that. Thank you guys for having me on the show for so long. Another season of Nick's picks. I want to start off with this episode really strong here. Sam Darnold just isn't the problem with the Vikings. Out of all the problems they have, it is not Sam Darnold. That man got sacked. Pretty sure the numbers are 8 or 9. I'm pretty sure I remember 9, but it could be 8. It is the offensive coordinator that is a problem. That one can sometimes not get Justin Jefferson the ball. 2, Jordan Addison also does not get the ball a lot. 3, you have 2 really good running backs in Aaron Jones and both Cam Akers. What are we doing here? That offense should be unstoppable. Fun fact, since you guys like fun facts, in 6 quarters, they did not score a single touchdown.
So I agree, but there's definitely a limit to Sam Darnold, and it's kind of like the Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith type quarterback where they're going to win you games and they're going to be fun to watch and they're going to put up some good numbers with a lot of talent around them. Even Dak Prescott I would throw into this category. They're fun to watch, a lot of talent around them. They're going to win you games, but when they get put up against real competition, that's when they falter. Now, a lot of the Rams' loss was on the offensive line. I do not blame the Rams' loss on Sam Darnold almost at all, but Sam Darnold lost a lot of money over these last 2 weeks.
I thought when you said fun fact, by the way, I thought you were going to say fun fact, the 4 losses the Vikings have were to the Lions.
Against the Lions and the Rams, yeah. Number 2, gentlemen. Listen, we all know what we want for the NFC Championship game, right? We all know what we want. We all want to see Matthew Stafford versus the young rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels. That will be.
I kind of thought you were going Goff versus Stafford type.
No.
No.
That will be the most broadcasted NFC Championship game of all time. That is recorded. And those numbers do come out like afterwards, so like I can't just be like, oh yeah, it was or it wasn't.
I mean, I would watch it. I know people that wouldn't. So, like, I don't know about most all time.
All right, gentlemen, we're gonna go back to a hot take I said last week. You know, it really pains me to say this. It really does. Get Matt LaFleur the fuck out of there. Matt LaFleur is gonna get me fired after this, after the 2025 NFL season.
So next year.
They're young. I understand that. But I don't know if you guys actually sat there and watched the game. There was so many penalties on us. It was insane. We were just throwing people. We threw Saquon to the ground. We were trying to get a stop for an unnecessary roughness for whatever reason. For some reason, we just cannot score touchdowns anymore. Jordan Love, when it's not toilet-thon, just doesn't understand what football is sometimes. Once again, I will continue to say this over and over and over again because this needs to be said. We would be 0-6 in the division if it wasn't for 3 fingertips. I think we have seen a ceiling with Matt LaFleur's offense with the Green Bay Packers.
I really have no opinions on Matt LaFleur, so
To be
I got
fair,
nothing.
Tom Brady apparently is still trying to get Belichick to go to the Raiders, even though Belichick just went to UNC. So it's possible. I doubt it's going to happen, but it's possible.
Just give me a second here. Let me just think. 'Cause I actually did just have one in my head,
Can
and
I-
Ben kind of fucked me up.
Can I give you one and you just act like it was yours the whole time?
Yeah, sure.
Jalen Hurts.
I'm guessing it's going to be by the Rams. All right, guys. So for my second to last hot take, Jalen Hurts in the Packers game. I forgot his actual stat line. I don't think he even hit 130 yards passing. You have A.J. Brown, you have Devontae Smith, you have Saquon Barkley. You have how many stars on that offense, and you can't even muster up anything. And to be fair, should have thrown like 1 or 2 picks to us, except we just dropped the fucking
The
ball.
Eagles should have kicked the living fuck out of you if Jalen Hurts was a half decent quarterback. Jalen Hurts is the reason the Eagles are not. If the Eagles don't win the Super Bowl this year, it is because of Jalen Hurts and maybe Nick Sirianni, but like Jalen Hurts.
What did Nick Sirianni like even do? Like, what does he actually even do?
He went bald.
I really cannot tell you one thing. All right.
I mean,
Yeah. No.
Gentlemen, last hot take. We make fun of the Cowboys every single year for very obvious reasons, you know. 44 to 32, by the way. You know, they gave CeeDee Lamb a very nice contract. They gave Dak Prescott $60 million a year. I can't wait to see what Brock Purdy makes. But with all the blunders that we give him for, all the fun that we make fun of him for, there's one that just is not talked about enough. Derrick Henry wanted $8 million a year, and look at what that man is doing with the Ravens. That is Jerry Jones's biggest fuck up, I think, of all time. I might have actually said this hot take before, like earlier in the season. Let's just call it what it is here. They don't even have a good running back. Yeah,
Jerry
exactly.
Jones has made a lot of fuck ups since the 90s.
But look at what Derrick Henry just did.
Since he lost,
187
since he
yards.
fired Jimmy Johnson, even if Derrick Henry was on the Cowboys, I think all it would have made it is the Cowboys as the 7th seed over the Packers.
I'm still on record as to saying the Giants made the
personally.
right decision not resigning Saquon. So 8 teams remaining. Your team is not one of them. So there's no bias left besides the fact that you're probably a bit salty at the Eagles. Going the rest of the way forward, obviously this could change by next week because whoever you're about to say could be gone by next week. But who's your gut feeling right now to go all the way?
I would love to see Jay and Daniels genuinely bring the Commanders to a Super Bowl and actually go win that thing. In my opinion, as long as it's not the Lions, the Chiefs, or the Eagles, I'm fine. I'm fine. Ravens, Rams, it can be Bills, Commanders. I don't care. Just not those 3 teams.
All right. Well, we got to get to our picks for divisional round weekend. So we'll see you in the championship round. Have a great one.
Game. See you.
All right. So we are ready to get into our divisional round picks, and I am not going to put them on the screen. Starting from now, we are going to add a little bit of suspense going into Nick's picks. So we will start with the very first game of divisional round weekend, and I will put the scores that Ben and I have both predicted. Now, so let's talk about this first game. It is the Texans going up against the Chiefs after the Texans beat the Chargers. One could say the Texans upset the Chargers, even though the Texans were technically the higher seed. The Chiefs haven't looked great all season long. Obviously, I've already told you that I am picking the Chiefs just because what do you want me to do? Not pick the Chiefs? Like, come on. I'm not stupid.
Well, speaking of stupid, I'm just kidding. I'm not even. There's no way.
I was going to say, I don't think this is the one you were going to differ on, but, it's worth talking about the fact that if the Texans play very well, the Texans are going to have to play very well. We're both going with the Chiefs. we don't see there being too much of a discrepancy in that. At least 90% of America would probably agree with that. All right, we go from a slight shocker in the Texans to a bigger shocker in the Washington Commanders as they managed to get past the Tampa Bay Bucks last week and get on to the Detroit Lions. So it is now a rookie quarterback and a team that nobody expected to be here at the beginning of the season, Washington Commanders, against a team that everybody expected to be here at the beginning of the season in the Detroit Lions. I don't see any chance that you're picking Washington in this one. And I know I was kind of proven wrong last week, but I still kind of stand on it. Washington does not have a whole lot of offense, and they will not have the firepower needed to keep up with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, no, I have this still close just because I think, I also have to say this for the Chiefs, but I think both 1 seeds, I think, are just going to struggle early because you have that bye. More so, I think, for the Chiefs because they rested their starters, obviously, the final week of the season, and the Lions obviously have to still fight for the 1 seed. It's hard to get your footing quicker than the other teams that have played a week before you. That's just how it just goes because, you're more rested, obviously.
All right, now we get into the interesting games, and it starts with probably the biggest potential for an upset of the week. It is the Eagles going up against the Los Angeles Rams. We've talked about it a few times that the Los Angeles Rams are one of those teams that when they're 100% healthy, they can beat any team in this playoff. We also just talked about how the Eagles, with all of the weapons they have, are severely held down by their quarterback play of late. I'm going with the Eagles because I would prefer you to go with the Rams so that if you get it wrong, obviously I'm up 5 points, but if you get it right, the Eagles lost and I'm happy.
This is hard for me to pick the Rams against the Eagles just because of it's hard to pick a team that's a streaky team. And that's what the Rams are. They could go weeks on end and look like the best team in the league, but they could also look like, how the fuck did they make the playoffs? And that's a week by week thing with this Rams team. I'm not thinking it's going to happen this week. I think the Rams are going to still show up. They're going to keep it competitive. I just can't pick them just because it's so uncertain. I could see this be a blowout for either team.
Okay, so we are both picking the Eagles for this one. So before I switch the bottom graphic over to the Ravens and Bills, let me just put this out there. Now I am picking the Ravens. So we will put the graphic up now along with my score, and we'll keep Ben's scores blank for now because Ben, you have a decision to make, and I'm going to talk about this game here for a second before we hear Ben's decision as to whether or not he wants to take the risk of being down 5 points for the chance that he's up 1, or does he just go into next week down 2 no matter what. I mean, unless you get a score prediction right. It is the Ravens and the Bills. This is by far, you can't argue with me. You can't tell me otherwise. I don't care how much of a fan of the Chiefs, Texans, Lions, Commies, Eagles, or Rams that you are. This is the most entertaining game of divisional round weekend. Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens, 2 teams that are dying to get to the Super Bowl over these last 5 years. One of them's not going to get it because they have to go through each other. I would prefer it to be Buffalo. Obviously, you guys know it's kind of like my pseudo team, but the Buffalo Bills feel like they keep getting close, and they are the ones who keep running into Kansas City and getting fucked. So I'm going with the Ravens kind of for the same reason that I went with Philly over the Rams. I want you to pick Buffalo so that my luck works against me. So let's hear it, Ben. This is the game of the week. What do you got?
First things first. I said at the beginning of the year, Josh Allen was my MVP. And this is, in my opinion, I know it's only a regular season award. I think
you also have Baltimore in the Super Bowl.
That's true. And I'm getting to that. I think whoever wins this game, in my opinion, I know it's a regular season award, that's who the MVP is. I have the score of 30-27 in favor of the only tolerable bird team. I am sticking with you all this week. I'm picking the Ravens. This is a hard game to pick because I'm saying this right now. This game's probably going to OT. The only team I think they can go into OT is the Eagles Rams because I think both teams are either going to be too shit or too hot. This game is probably going to go to overtime. I think the Ravens are a more equipped team, and I'm sorry, Bills fans, they're the healthier team. I can't pick against both Lamar and Derrick Henry.
The one saving grace I have for you Buffalo fans, because I'm not picking you either, and I have all the same concerns that Ben's having with the injuries and everything. Buffalo doesn't have a great defense, but I think people forget Baltimore secondary is really, really, really leaky too.
There's going to be no defense this game.
All right, but that is it for Knicks picks. Divisional round weekend. I was about to say week 18. I don't know why. Ben, you are going to be holding a 2-point deficit going into championship weekend, in which you're going to have to allow me to pick both the NFC and AFC championship, and you will have to decide on which one you want to differ on, and that one will have to be the one that you get correct in order to win Knicks picks for your second straight year.
Why is it always so close? Why is it so close every year?
Every year besides last year has come down to the
That's
NFC or AFC championship game, and this year will not be any different. So if you haven't already, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, because next week's video is going to be absolutely crucial for what happens in the Super Bowl special. It's going to be huge. Y'all aren't ready for it. Ben's not ready for it, I can tell you that much.
I'm never ready for it.
Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys in the NFC and AFC championship round. Have a great one. Peace. Oh, so how's Puerto Rico? This is legitimately my first time talking to you since you've left. So, like, you know, are you actually enjoying, like...
I popped in your chat for a little bit, and then I was...
Yeah, then I yelled at you that you're on vacation and to stop watching my stream while you're on vacation.
Which is funny, because after you did that, I watched for another 5 minutes. Like, I'm going to take a nap. No, it's been good. It's been good. We went some beaches. I mean, obviously, I think my family, they're out... There's like a little strip mall, so they're like out drinking.
Y'all need a loyal friend in your life. This motherfucker right here. He is in Puerto Rico on vacation, and he's been hopping in both my Twitch stream and my YouTube stream, because I got drafted earlier today in my Road to Glory.
I did watch
to the Chicago Bears. Funny. And Ben's in there in the chat watching along with us. So loyal supporter over here. Appreciate you, Ben. We'll see you next week.
It's gonna be fun. You know, next week might be a fun week. I think so. It's gonna be fun no matter what. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm on vacation mode. So bye guys.